Have you ever paused for a moment and thought, why do I feel more tired than I used to? Or maybe you've caught yourself struggling a bit more to get up from a chair, forgetting small things more often, or feeling like you just don't quite move like you once did. Well, here's something we don't talk about enough, some of the routines we've held on to for years. Things we thought were helpful, harmless, or even comforting could actually be quietly speeding up the aging process after 70. Now, don't get me wrong, aging is a beautiful part of life. It brings wisdom, stories, and perspective that younger folks can't buy no matter how hard they try. But what often surprises people is that it's not just age that causes stiffness, low energy, or forgetfulness. It's the daily habits we stop questioning, the ones we've slipped into without even noticing. Here's the good news. Once we recognize these habits, we can change them. And the results, more energy, more freedom, a clearer mind, a stronger sense of self. So in today's video, we're going to walk through 6 surprising habits that many people over 70 fall into, often without realizing it, and talk about how letting go of them can open the door to a life that feels lighter, more confident, and more connected. These aren't dramatic overhauls or unrealistic routines. We're talking about small shifts that create big ripple effects. And if you stick with me till the end, you might recognize a few of these patterns in your own life, and better yet, walk away with simple ways to take back control. Because here's the truth, just because we've hit 70, 75, or even 90, doesn't mean we stop growing. It means we get to grow smarter. Let's get started. Let me ask you something. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, maybe I should slow down? I'm not as steady as I used to be. If you have, you're definitely not alone. After 70, a lot of us start to believe that being careful means doing less. Less movement, less strain, less effort. But here's the twist, moving less doesn't protect you. It can actually hold you back. See, our muscles are like quiet teammates. They support every step we take, every time we rise from a chair or reach up to grab something from a shelf. But if we stop using them regularly, they start to weaken. And that muscle loss, what doctors call sarcopenia, can sneak up fast. Before we know it, something simple like climbing stairs or standing up without pushing off your arms feels harder than it used to. Let me tell you about Gilbert. He's 82. A few years ago, he took a small fall and got spooked. He stopped doing much, just some short walks and a lot of sitting. But instead of feeling safer, he started feeling weaker. His balance got worse. His confidence dipped. Eventually, with a little help from a physical therapist, Gilbert began doing the simplest strength exercises, standing up from a chair without using his hands, lifting canned soup like dumbbells, and balancing on one foot next to his kitchen counter. 2 months in, he told me, I feel like me again. And that's what this is really about, not becoming a bodybuilder, but reclaiming your strength, your balance, your freedom. You don't need a gym membership or fancy equipment. What you need is the decision to start. A few intentional movements each day can truly change how you feel in your body and in your mind. Because staying strong, that's not just about muscles, it's about dignity. It's about knowing deep down, I've got this. Let me ask you something. Are you still eating the same way you did 30 years ago? Now, don't get me wrong, there's comfort in routine. Maybe it's that big breakfast you've always loved, or the meat and potatoes dinner that feels like home. You've eaten this way for decades and thought, hey, it's worked for me all this time, why change now? But here's the thing, your body isn't running on the same engine it had in your 40s. Over time, our metabolism slows down, digestion isn't quite as smooth, and our nutritional needs shift. The same portion sizes and heavy meals that once fueled you, they might now be weighing you down literally and mentally. Let me introduce you to Scarlet. She's 75. For most of her life, she didn't think twice about what she ate. 3 full meals a day, lots of comfort food, just like always. But over the years, she noticed something. She felt bloated after dinner. Her energy dipped in the afternoons, and she started to feel off. Nothing major, just not herself. Her doctor didn't scold her. He simply encouraged her to try smaller portions, add more vegetables, and pay attention to how her body responded. And guess what? Within a few weeks, her energy picked up, her sleep improved, and she told me she felt more clear-headed and calm than she had in years. You see, eating well after 70 isn't about dieting or depriving yourself. It's about nourishing your body for where you are now, not where you were back then. It means swapping some of those processed snacks for fiber-rich veggies, adding more lean protein, and staying hydrated with fresh fruits. And here's a powerful mindset shift. Adjusting your meals isn't giving something up. It's giving your body what it truly needs to thrive. So maybe the real question isn't why change. It's why not feel your best again? Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really connected with someone? I don't mean a quick wave at the neighbor or a polite, "How are you?" at the grocery store. I mean a real conversation, a shared laugh, a walk together, a chat about life. It's easier than we think to slip into isolation, especially after retirement, after the kids move away, or after losing someone close. At first, the quiet might feel peaceful. You tell yourself, "I'm fine on my own. I don't want to bother anyone." But slowly, that peaceful quiet can turn into something heavier: loneliness. And here's what most people don't realize: loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a health risk. Studies show that social isolation in older adults can lead to depression, memory decline, and even increase the risk of heart problems. Just like our muscles need movement to stay strong, our minds need connection to stay sharp and resilient. Let me share Sylvia's story. She's 80. After her husband passed, she started saying no to invitations. At first, it felt like self-care, but weeks turned into months and months into years. Her days blurred together. She felt foggy, low energy, unmotivated. Then her daughter encouraged her to try a gentle yoga class at the senior center. Sylvia was hesitant, but she gave it a shot. What surprised her most wasn't the yoga, it was the laughter before class, the chit-chat after. That weekly class became the highlight of her week. Her joy returned. Her spark came back. You don't need a packed calendar or loud parties to feel connected. A regular phone call, a coffee with a friend, a walk with a neighbor, even joining an online group that shares your interests, it all counts. These small moments of connection are like vitamins for the heart and mind. So if you've been pulling back from people, gently ask yourself, is this helping me feel better or just keeping me stuck? Because sometimes the best way to care for yourself is to let others in. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt a little off and thought, it's nothing, I'm just getting older? Maybe you felt a little more tired than usual, had a bit of dizziness in the afternoon, or noticed your feet swelling slightly. It's easy to shrug it off, right? You don't want to make a fuss. Maybe you've even told yourself, this is just part of aging. But here's the truth, your body has a way of whispering before it screams. And those small symptoms, they're not always as harmless as they seem. See, after 70, even the smallest changes in how you feel deserve your attention. The fatigue you think is normal could be your heart asking for help. A little forgetfulness might be an early sign of something deeper. And the longer we wait, the harder it becomes to treat the root cause. Let me tell you about Walter. He's 78. For most of his life, he was proud of how tough he was. Never liked doctors, never complained. But then his vision started to blur, and he felt a strange tingling in his feet. At first, he ignored it. Just aging, he thought. But thankfully, his daughter urged him to get checked out. Turns out he had early-stage diabetes. Because he caught it early, he was able to manage it through lifestyle changes and avoid medication altogether. That one decision, it gave him back control over his life. So if something doesn't feel quite right, trust your gut. Don't downplay it. Don't let embarrassment, pride, or habit keep you from getting the care you deserve. You are your body's best advocate. You've spent your life looking out for others. Now it's time to look out for yourself too. Remember, speaking up early isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Let me ask you, have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went in? Or thought, did I already take my medication today? Maybe you used to remember everything: birthdays, appointments, even what you needed at the grocery store without blinking. And so you figure, I've got this. I don't need to write it down. But here's the truth. As we get older, our memory just doesn't operate the way it used to. And that's not failure. That's just nature doing its thing. The problem is when we keep expecting our brain to handle the same load it did 20 or 30 years ago without giving it any support. That's when little slips can turn into real risks. Missing a lunch date is one thing, but forgetting to take or accidentally double up on your medication, that can be serious. Let me share a story about Bill. He's 73, and for most of his life, he prided himself on keeping everything in his head. Never used calendars, never wrote things down. But after missing a specialist appointment and getting confused about whether he took his morning pills twice in 1 week, he knew something had to change. So he picked up a simple notebook and started using alarms on his phone. Within a few days, he told me, I feel lighter, like I'm not carrying everything in my head anymore. That's the magic of writing things down. It doesn't mean you're slipping. It means you're being smart. Use a calendar on the fridge. Set reminders on your phone. Try a pill organizer. These tools aren't crutches, they're bridges to peace of mind. They free up your brain so it can focus on what really matters, enjoying your day, connecting with loved ones, and feeling confident in yourself. Because sometimes the best way to trust your memory is to stop making it do all the work. Let's talk about something that makes a lot of people over 70 quietly throw up their hands: technology. Have you ever said, "I don't need all that stuff," or "It's too complicated," or "Even I've made it this far without it, why start now?" If so, you're not alone. Technology can feel overwhelming. Touchscreens, passwords, updates, it's enough to make anyone want to give up. But here's the thing, avoiding technology completely doesn't keep life simpler. It can actually make it harder, and worse, it can make you more dependent on others. Let me tell you about Louise. She's 79 and used to call her daughter every time she needed to check an appointment or refill a prescription. And while her daughter was happy to help, Louise started feeling frustrated, like she was losing her independence. One day, her grandson sat with her and showed her how to use her phone's calendar and reminder app. It wasn't perfect at first. There were a few mistakes, a few laughs, but guess what? Within a few weeks, she was doing it all herself. And more importantly, she felt capable again. You see, this isn't about becoming a tech expert. You don't need to know every button or every app. It's about learning just enough to make life a little easier. Whether it's checking the weather, getting a reminder for your pills, texting your grandkids, or even watching a video like this, technology can open doors, not close them. And if you've ever felt embarrassed for not knowing how something works, let that go. Everyone starts somewhere. The only thing you really need is a little curiosity and maybe a patient grandchild. Because when you embrace just a bit of technology, you're not just keeping up. You're stepping into a world of new possibilities. And believe me, that spark of independence, it's worth every tap and swipe. Let me ask you, this has your sleep schedule gotten a little unpredictable? Maybe now that you're retired or no longer tied to a strict routine, you've started staying up late watching a few more shows, reading a little longer, or scrolling through your phone and telling yourself, "I can sleep in tomorrow." Then the next morning you wake up groggy, maybe a little cranky, and reach for an extra cup of coffee just to feel normal again. Sound familiar? Here's the thing, just because we have more freedom doesn't mean our bodies don't still crave structure. In fact, as we age, regular sleep becomes more important, not less. When we go to bed and wake up at all different times, it disrupts our body's internal clock, what scientists call the circadian rhythm. And when that rhythm gets out of sync, it doesn't just affect your energy. It can cloud your memory, lower your mood, weaken your immune system, and even increase your risk of falls. Let me tell you about Mr. Hung. He's 76 and used to stay up until 1 or 2 in the morning just because he wasn't feeling sleepy. No alarm, no structure. But over time, he noticed he was forgetting things more often. He felt foggy, irritable, and always tired no matter how much he slept. Then he made a simple shift. He started turning off electronics an hour before bed. He cut back on caffeine in the evening. Most importantly, he set a regular bedtime and wake-up time, even on weekends. Within weeks, he was sleeping deeper, waking up with more energy, and his words, not mine, "I finally feel like myself again." So if you've been treating sleep as something flexible, think about this. What would your days feel like if your nights were more restful? You don't have to be perfect, but giving your sleep rhythm a little more love could make a world of difference in how you feel, think, and move. And you deserve to wake up each day feeling refreshed, not just rested, but renewed. Now here's a phrase I hear more often than I'd like. "I'm too old for that." Have you ever said it? Maybe when someone suggested learning a new app, trying a dance class, or even going on a little weekend trip. You smile and say, "Oh, not at my age," like it's a joke. But over time, that phrase becomes something more serious. It becomes a mindset. And here's the truth, that mindset is quietly stealing joy, adventure, and purpose from your life. Many people, especially after 70, begin shrinking their world without even realizing it. They stop exploring. They stop trying. They start believing that new things are for younger folks and that their time to learn, grow, or be surprised has passed. But I want to challenge that idea because it's simply not true. Let me tell you about Hoa. She's 74. For years, she avoided technology, always saying, "Let the kids handle that. I'm too old to learn. But one day her grandson showed her how to use YouTube to look up new recipes. At first she hesitated, but then she watched a video, then another, and another. Before long, she wasn't just cooking new dishes, she was sharing her creations with friends online and feeling more connected than ever. That one small yes opened a door she didn't even know was still there. You see, every time you learn something new, no matter how small, you're keeping your brain flexible and your spirit alive. And it doesn't have to be big. Try a new food. Listen to a new type of music. Sign up for a local class or ask your grandchild to teach you something they love. Saying I'm too old for that is easy, but saying, why not give it a try? That's where the magic happens. Because you're not done, not even close. There are still new things to feel, to learn, and to love, and you deserve every bit of it. So now that we've walked through these habits together, let me ask you this. Which one spoke to you the most? Was there something you recognized in yourself, a small routine, a quiet pattern, something you brushed off for years? Here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to change everything overnight. This isn't about being perfect. It's about choosing one small step, just one that brings you closer to feeling like your best self again. Maybe that means adding a short walk to your day. Maybe it's calling a friend you haven't spoken to in a while, or maybe it's simply choosing to go to bed a little earlier tonight. Whatever it is, start where you are. Use what you have and trust that it matters. Because aging isn't a decline, it's an evolution. It's not about fading away. It's about moving forward with all the wisdom, resilience, and heart that life has given you so far. You've made it this far, not by chance, but by strength. Don't let old habits keep you from the new joy that's still waiting for you. Each time you choose better for your body, your mind, your spirit, you're sending a message to yourself and the world: I still matter. My time still has value. My story isn't over. And you know what, some of your most meaningful moments may still be ahead. So keep showing up for yourself. Keep learning. Keep reaching. The best version of you isn't behind you, it's still unfolding. Thank you for being here. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear what you're taking away. Leave a comment, share your thoughts, and if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe so we can keep growing together. You're not alone on this journey, and I truly believe the best is yet to come.